What if you could test the shape of the Earth yourself? No fancy lab, just curiosity and simple tools. In this video, we're putting flat Earth claims to the test with real experiments you can try at home. Can you prove the world is round or flat, using nothing but a flashlight, a stick, and your own two hands? We'll challenge what you think you know and see what the evidence really shows. Along the way, you'll see real debate, hands-on discovery, and maybe a few surprises. Are you ready to question everything, even the globe in a bottle? Grab a measuring tape, a sense of adventure, and join the experiment. Ready to see what the evidence really shows? Let's get started. The best way to understand something isn't to read about it in a book. It's to get your hands dirty, build a rig, run a test, see the results for yourself. That process of discovery is where the real magic happens. This curiosity has driven every great inventor, every explorer, and yes, every myth buster. It's the refusal to accept because I said so as an answer. People who explore flat Earth ideas are driven by skepticism of authority and a passion for empirical evidence. They're looking for proof they can touch and measure. They're putting the world to the test, and that's awesome. The scientific method isn't a secret club. It's a tool for everyone. Form a hypothesis, like, the Earth is flat. Then try everything in your power to break it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're not here to mock or to preach. We're here to build. We're here to test. We'll take the biggest claims of the flat Earth model and put them on trial. Or from a hardware store. We'll set up experiments you can replicate at home. The goal isn't just to find an answer, it's to experience the thrill of the chase, to see how simple observations can reveal profound truths. Let's fire up our curiosity and get to work. First up, let's tackle a big one, the sunset. A common flat Earth claim is that the sun doesn't set below a horizon. Instead, it just gets farther and farther away, like a car's taillights driving off into the distance. This is an observation we can all make. The theory? The sun acts like a spotlight circling above a flat disk. If Earth were flat, the sun should simply shrink and fade out, not disappear from the bottom up. Let's build a model to test that. You'll need a large flat surface, like a big dining table, or even a clean floor. You'll also need a small, bright light source, a flashlight, or the light on your smartphone. Finally, you'll need a small object to be your observer. A little toy figure or an upright coin. The goal is to create a miniature flat Earth model right in your living room. Place your observer object at one end of your flat table. Now turn on your flashlight sun and hold it just a few inches above the table's surface at the opposite end. Get your eyes down to the level of your observer object. Look straight across the table at the light. Now, slowly and steadily, move the flashlight away from your observer, keeping it at the same height above the table. Watch the light carefully. How does it change as it moves farther away? Does it get smaller? Does it get dimmer? Does any part of it get blocked from view? On your flat table, the flashlight's sun simply gets smaller and dimmer as it moves away. The entire circle of light remains visible the whole time, right up until it's too far away and faint to see. Now, compare that to a real sunset. When you watch the actual sun set over a clear horizon, like the ocean, it does something different. It doesn't just shrink, it sinks. The bottom edge of the sun touches the horizon first, and then the rest of it follows, disappearing from the bottom up. This observation directly contradicts what we saw on our flat table model. The real world points to a horizon that hides things from the bottom first. Exactly what you'd expect if the surface curves away. This next experiment is a classic. It's a version of the one the ancient Greek librarian Eratosthenes used to calculate the circumference of the Earth. The flat Earth claim it tests is the idea of a small local sun. In some flat models, the sun sits just a few thousand miles above the disk. If that were true, sunlight would hit nearby places at noticeably different angles. We can test this with nothing more than 2 sticks and a bit of sunlight. Here's what you'll need. 2 identical straight sticks, poles, 2 yardsticks, 2 simple dowels, a measuring tape, a protractor, a friend who lives some distance away, north, A friend who lives some distance away, south. The farther apart, the better. 50 miles or 100 miles. Coordinate to do it at the same time, ideally on a clear day around local noon. Both of you will measure the length of a shadow cast by an identical object at the exact same moment. Go outside, find a perfectly flat piece of ground. Plant your stick straight into the ground, perfectly vertical. Use a level to be sure. As noon approaches, the shadow gets shorter. At local noon, measure the shadow's length. Use your protractor to measure the sun angle by making a triangle. Stick, shadow, line from top to tip. Both people must do this simultaneously. Now, compare results. If the Earth were flat with a close sun, the farther friend should have a much longer shadow. But what you will find is different. If one of you is directly under the sun, that stick will have no shadow. Your friend's stick will still cast a shadow. That pattern fits a distant sun shining on a curved Earth because the surface curvature changes the stick's angles relative to parallel sun rays. Next, let's look at the Earth's shadow itself. Let's talk about eclipses. Specifically, a lunar eclipse. This is when the Earth passes directly between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on the moon's surface. A popular flat Earth model proposes a mysterious anti-moon or shadow object. In that model, it should be impossible for the flat Earth to block the sun's light from hitting the moon. The sun and moon are always supposed to be above the flat disk, so the shadow must come from something else. We can investigate this ourselves during the next lunar eclipse. What do you need for this one? Patience, mainly. You'll need to wait for a lunar eclipse to happen. You can easily look up the dates for the next one online. Other than that, you just need your eyes, a pair of binoculars, a small telescope. The goal is simple. Observe the shape of the shadow that creeps across the face of the moon. What does it look like? Follow the shadow's path from the beginning, through totality, and to the end as the shadow moves away. You will observe without fail that the shadow cast on the moon is always a perfect arc. It's a piece of a circle. As the shadow moves completely over the moon, you can trace its edge and see that it forms a circular shape. Now think about it. What is the only object that casts a perfectly circular shadow from any angle, in any orientation? It's a sphere. A flat disk would only cast a circular shadow if the eclipse happened at a specific time with the disk facing the moon perfectly. At any other angle, it would cast a shadow that looks like a thin line or an oval. The fact that every single lunar eclipse in recorded history has shown a circular shadow is powerful evidence that the object casting it, the Earth, is a sphere. This experiment addresses a core tenet of the flat Earth model, that large bodies of water are perfectly flat and level. The claim is if the Earth were a globe with a circumference of 25,000 miles, we should be able to measure curvature over a few miles of water. The formula for curvature is often cited as 8 inches per mile, squared over 3 miles, that's 3t3x 8 inches, which equals 72 inches or 6 feet. Let's design a way to measure this over a long, calm body of water. For this test, you'll need a lake or canal, a windless day, a good quality laser level, and a tripod to hold it steady. On the far shore, a friend with a large target, a whiteboard or cardboard with measurement markings. Use GPS to confirm distance, and walkie-talkies or phones to communicate. Set up the laser on the tripod exactly 3 feet above the water. Measure carefully. Aim the laser directly across toward your friend 3 miles away. Make sure the laser beam is perfectly level. The laser level does this for you. If Earth is flat, the level beam from 3 feet should hit at 3 feet. A level line remains at the same height over a flat surface. But on a curved Earth, the laser is a straight tangent in space, while the surface curves away underneath. Over 3 miles, the surface drops about 6 feet. So a beam from 3 feet should hit 3 miles away at about 9 feet. When done correctly, the laser dot appears significantly higher on the target, matching curved Earth predictions. The level laser beam appeared to rise as it crossed the lake. A level line over a flat surface wouldn't do that. A straight line moving over a curved surface would. The water surface actually curves down away from the beam. The beam's apparent rise matches Earth's calculated curvature. So, we've run our tests, we've built our rigs, we've taken our measurements, we've gathered our data. What does it all mean when we put it together? Each experiment gives a single piece of a much larger puzzle. The sunset experiment. The sun disappears like it's sinking below a curved horizon, not just shrinking on a flat plane. A flat Earth model couldn't replicate what we see every evening. Ships disappearing hull first. The curve is blocking our view. Shadows at the same time, different locations, different lengths, that fits parallel rays on a sphere. Earth's shadow on the moon is always an arc. A sphere casts a circular shadow from any angle. The long-distance laser gave a quantifiable measurement pointing to curvature. All of these experiments point to the same conclusion. We've reached the end of our experimental journey for today. We took some fascinating claims. We treated them with respect. We put them to the test using methods anyone can try. We watched a sunset with a critical eye. We measured shadows with sticks. We observed an eclipse. We shot a laser across a lake. Our evidence consistently supported a spherical Earth over a flat one. But the most important result isn't the conclusion. It's the process we followed to get there. The real takeaway: you have the power to find things out for yourself. Don't just accept what I've said here. Be skeptical. Think about our experiments. Are there flaws in them? Could you build them better? What other variables could be at play? Asking these questions is not denial. It's the heart of good science. The world is complex and wonderful. The best way to appreciate it is to interact with it. Measure it. Test its limits. Understand its mechanics with your hands and mind. Whether you're building a model rocket, figuring out the best way to cook a steak, or testing the shape of the planet, you are discovering. That feeling of seeing evidence click into place. That's one of the greatest feelings. It drives us to learn, create, and explore, from backyards to space. So don't ever stop being curious. Don't stop asking why. How do we know? Pick a belief, any belief, and ask, how could I test this? How could I try to prove it wrong?